Everything feels more expensive right now, but one of Philly's best resources is still completely free. With a free library of Philadelphia card, you get access to thousands of programs, events, and digital resources for all ages, including ebooks, audiobooks, learning languages, genealogy, and news. Don't worry, they don't have those fees if you return your materials late. Sign up today, freelibrary.org/card, and see what's waiting for you.
It's the Friday News Roundup. A political earthquake shook the city Democratic Party this week as State Rep Chris Rabb won the nomination for a seat in Congress. People who went to a certain dentist over the last year need to get tested for HIV and hepatitis. And with rain forecasted this weekend, for our bonus members-only segment for CityCast Philly neighbors, we're going to tell you whether or not, statistically speaking, you should spend this Memorial Day weekend down the shore. It's Friday, May 22nd. I'm executive producer Matt Katz, filling in for Trinae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. I'm here at the Fiddler Club this week with producer Abby Fritz. Hey, Abby, it was a long week. What time did you get to sleep on Election Day?
I think 2:30, 3 a.m.
Yeah. The polls closed at 8, and then we had results
by like
10, pretty soon.
11, yeah.
It could have been a much longer night. I mean, Chris Rabb, as I mentioned in the open, won in what is being called a landslide. I mean, we were expecting a very tight race for the 3rd Congressional District. Represents about half of Philadelphia. There was an open seat. Congressman Dwight Evans
which doesn't happen often.
Retiring. It rarely happens. And then once you get in there, you're in there for
forever. Yeah.
So this is a big deal that Chris Rabb defeated 2 other people who were considered frontrunners. It was thought to be a toss-up before the election happened. He defeated State Senator Sharif Street, who was supported basically by most of the major Democratic figures in the city.
And I would have put money on him winning just based on historically in the city.
Sure.
So,
I mean, the mayor backed him. The council president backed him, et cetera, et cetera. And then you had an outsider who had a ton of name recognition, ton of TV ads, Dr. Ayla Stanford, and she came in 3rd place. So this Rabb victory, he's a democratic socialist, staunch progressive. He wins in a landslide. Tell us who Chris Rabb is. Let's start there.
Yeah, since he might be our congressperson for a while here.
I mean, usually congressional representatives, they don't usually just leave.
They don't. Yeah, and he's only 56, so he could stick around for a while in there. Right. So he's a self-proclaimed radical and uses the slogan "Rabble-rouser."
I get it.
That was his slogan. Rabble.
Got it.
So his background in politics, he served as an aide for Democratic U.S. Senator Carol Moseley Braun, and he worked with the Clinton administration back in the 90s for the White House's Conference on Small Businesses. He's registered as a Democrat, but identifies as a Democratic Socialist. He was elected in 2016 as a Pennsylvania state rep and served for 5 terms.
He's up in Mount Airy was his district.
So during his time as a state rep, he introduced over 100 bills and resolutions. How many actually passed, though? That number is probably on the lower end. And partially that is because of how split Harrisburg is. Not a lot of Democratic bills get through the House and the Senate.
So when he gets to Congress, he'll be accustomed to...
He'll understand how it works.
Right.
Exactly. But he did have things that he proposed, maybe not pass when he tried to get them through, but they ended up getting wrapped up into other legislation that did end up passing. So, for example, he introduced a police misconduct database that was meant to prevent police officers with maybe a problematic background from being hired without their background being understood by the hiring managers. So that ended up getting into some other legislation. He was also really ahead of the game on some progressive issues. Like at the beginning of Trump's first term, he was trying to limit police and U.S. immigration and customs enforcement collaboration, which obviously we've seen that that conversation happening now in Philadelphia and a lot more during Trump's second term. He was trying to get financial reparations for descendants of enslaved people. So he's always considered himself an activist. He has a penchant for social justice.
Yep.
And he comes from an activist family. For example, he organized and unionized 1,500 adjunct professors at Temple when he was teaching there. So that's kind of an idea of this person that we're going to see as our congressperson for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, because there's no Republican opponent in November, so
he's a shoo-in.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that term starts in January, and then he'll join the squad, it appears, right? With AOC.
Yeah. That's the cheeky name for a group of progressive congresspeople that have been pushing back against Trump, but also against the traditional Democratic machine.
Right.
They're fighting with their own party, to be a little more
100%.
left.
And then we're going to see now that fight that the squad is having in Washington against their own party, that's now playing out in Philly in a very significant way. I mean, you've seen over the last few years, the Democratic Socialists, the Working Families Party, these political entities on the left of the Democratic Party are really building momentum in the city. The Working Families Party now has 2 council members, Nick O'Rourke and Kendra Brooks, who are literally, that is their party affiliation. Philly has 3 members of the Democratic Socialists of America in the state legislature. You have State Senator Nicholas Saval, State Representative Liz Fiedler, State Rep Rick Grajewski. So all of this indicates that there's a mass of people pushing back against establishment Democrats. In the days after the election, there was talk that this could mean the leadership of Philly's Democratic Party could change. And we could think of the leaders of the city Democratic Party as centrist.
Yes.
Certainly more centrist than Chris Rabb.
Absolutely.
And some are just avowedly anti-socialist.
Yes. Yeah. It's a scary word for them when they hear socialist.
Word for them.
Yes.
Exactly. So Sharif Street, who just was defeated resoundingly by Rabb, was the choice of the Democratic Party's leadership in this race. Rabb destroys him. And now in the last few days, critics of the party say, it no longer appears to have the juice to get the turnout. It couldn't get Street even close to getting elected. And B, it's just ideologically out of step with what Democrats in the city want out of their candidates. And critics see the Democratic Party leaders as just sitting in power and doing nothing and getting in the way of this younger progressive movement. They say the status quo doesn't help working people. And the chairman of the party is former Congressman Bob Brady. He has run the Democratic machine in the city of Philadelphia since 1986.
For freaking ever.
Ronald Reagan was president.
Oh, my God.
It's really unbelievable how long this has been. 1986. Brady is no fan of progressives. So he sort of like personifies the establishment here and the criticism that the leadership needs to change. People say he needs to go. Although that was just kind of bubbling up a little bit on Twitter. Oh, Brady needs to go. I hear that all the time. He still remains in power.
People have been saying that for years just because he's been around so long.
Right.
People have been wanting a change of the guard for a while now, but there hasn't been substantial fire
until Thursday morning.
Exactly.
When Larry Krasner, our district attorney, who's another very significant progressive in this town,
yes,
and successful progressive, elected twice as a DA, he takes his phone and he goes to the city Democratic Committee headquarters up on Spring Garden Street, which is hilariously and fittingly named after Chairman Brady himself.
He did that on purpose.
It's literally etched in the side of the building, the Robert A. Brady office building.
Yeah.
So Krasner is in front of this, taking a video that he posts on Instagram saying,
Chairman Bob Brady, I say this respectfully, it is time to step aside.
And then he went on to elaborate.
I am asking you, Mr. Chairman, to have the wisdom that your friend Joe Biden had, which is to put the outsiders ahead of the insiders, to put the future ahead of the past, and understand that after 40 years serving as chairman of this party, there needs to be some new leadership that will embrace the future, not reject it, that will fight together with the Working Families Party, with liberals with progressives fight together in a big tent against the other side. And if we all do that, then yes, indeed, November will be a beautiful month, and this country will have a beautiful future. Mr. Chairman, it is time, and I say this respectfully, to step aside.
Wow. Right? That's war.
Total war. We are now in a democratic civil war in this town. No question about it. So I wonder what does this mean, right? I mean, the hustle and the passion is clearly on the left right now. The DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, they had canvassers out there for Rob. Working Families Party was knocking on doors, whereas the city Democratic Committee didn't appear to have really a robust get out the vote street operation. The unions in this town have always been very powerful, but they endorsed street.
And they explicitly did not back Rab.
Did not back Rab. And so what does that mean for them? And then, what does this mean for the mayor?
Yeah, because that was what I was thinking about during this all was like, it seems like voters in Philadelphia have not wanted to elect progressive candidates for our mayoral seat. And the 3rd Congressional District is, if not the most, one of the most democratic in the country. So if we're going to elect a progressive candidate, it makes sense that it would happen in this congressional district. Maybe Philadelphia is swinging more progressive in general. It's hard to tell, though, because, I mean, Mayor Parker was up against Helen Gim, who was a progressive candidate when she was initially elected. Parker is up for re-election next year, so, we'll see. She might be sweating a little bit.
Yeah. Is there a candidate from this new insurgent progressive left who could take on the mayor, who is definitely a centrist, and she represents that more established Democratic guard in the city?
And I'm sure the progressives in the city right now smell blood in the water. They're like, if we're going to strike, it's going to happen now.
Well, that's why Krasner went on and did that Instagram video.
Yes, he definitely felt emboldened, even though he's had beef with Bob Brady for some time. And that was very evident this week.
Yes, I mean, the sort of, I don't know, the funniest thing that happened on Election Day was this argument that Larry Krasner got into outside of what was it? South, the restaurant where
very great jazz soul food restaurant on Broad.
All the Democratic politicos were hanging out there on Election Day. So Krasner, he's an elected Democrat. He shows up and he gets into this heated argument with Ryan Boyer, the powerful leader of the building trades unions, outside of the restaurant in front of Inquirer reporter and friend of the pod, Anna Orso. So Anna then writes up what happened line by line in this fight, which sounded ridiculous because it dealt with first the beef over the last election because Boyer did not endorse Krasner. He endorsed Krasner's opponent, who was a Democrat turned Republican. And Krasner said Boyer told him he was going to give him money for his campaign. He didn't give him money, so it appeared to be partially about that. But it was also about mac and cheese.
What is mac and cheese code for? That's what I want to know.
They briefly, in the middle of this, argued over whether or not Krasner eats mac and cheese. Krasner was rueful that he was not going to have a chance to eat the mac and cheese inside the restaurant because he ended up getting escorted out. And Boyer said, "You don't even like mac and cheese." So it's so
what
funny.
the heck? They just want to fight. This is so embarrassing. I'm sorry.
It ended with Boyer telling him to get the fuck out of here. That's a direct quote.
Oh my God.
Well, that I think it really, it is emblematic of this food fight, if you will, within the Democratic Party right now. And we are going to be watching this really closely because implications for where the city goes politically in the months and years to come.
Absolutely.
We've got more news after the break.
As America turns 250, let's explore a bold question together in the city where it started. What does democracy's future look like? TED Democracy Philadelphia, Founding Futures, is a can't-miss event featuring more than 15 brand new TED Talks centered around the past, present, and future of modern democracy. So on Saturday, June 13th, at the Kimmel Center for the Performing Arts in Philadelphia, is a day designed to challenge your perspective, spark your imagination, and inspire you to take action. Ticket prices start at just $26. Use the exclusive promo code CityCastPhilly for 15% off tickets. Learn more and buy tickets at visitphilly.com/TED2026.
So, Abby, I freaked out earlier this week because I saw a press release from the health department about a dentist.
No.
I think I messaged you. And
Yeah,
said,
you did.
Oh my God, this is my dentist.
And I was like, oh my God, you need to go to a doctor immediately.
Okay, so this was not my dentist. The name of the dental practice that was flagged in this press release from the health department sounded the same as the dentist that I used to go to.
Okay.
It's also in the same neighborhood near Rittenhouse Square where everyone's doctors and dentists are.
Okay.
And so they gave the address. I thought it was, as I freaked out. And the reason I freaked out was the health department said that anyone who went to this dentist, Smiles on the Square, needed to be tested immediately for HIV, hepatitis B, and hepatitis C.
Oh my God.
Isn't that like
how does that happen in this
wild
day and
unusual?
age?
According to the health department, this dental office was reusing saline bags and vials of local anesthesia.
Reusing?
Yeah, the vials of local anesthesia and the saline bags were supposed to be thrown out after one use on a patient. In addition, they were not sterilizing their dental tools properly.
What?
I know.
That's like dentist 101.
know.
You just clean them off.
It's really shocking. I've never seen this happen.
Wow.
The dentist license has been suspended. The health department is asking anybody who's been there over the last year or so to get tested immediately. If you happen to have used this dentist, Smiles on the Square, you can call the health department at 215-685-5488 for more information.
And I mean, this came out because someone who was a current patient there made a report about some
We don't know if it was a patient or an employee. Somebody reported them and they were inspected.
Yes. And so like if you see, this is a great example of if you see something, say something.
Yeah.
Like dentists are hard to come by. I was just talking with some friends the other day about like it is hard to lock down a good dentist that takes your health care, that you trust. So like if you are sussed out at all by any of your health care providers in the city, make a report. 'Cause that's the way our public entities are going to find out about this.
And thank you to our public health officials who are on top of these things. They don't, they're making these inspections and not getting headlines when they're doing their work every day, but clearly they are looking out and identified this very problematic situation.
Absolutely.
Several years ago, I was in Malawi in Africa, and I contracted a bacteria that made me briefly ill once I got back here. And I went to a doctor here that identified the bacteria. And can I tell you that after that happened, I got a call so quickly from the health department.
Oh, wow.
From an actual human being just to ask where I may have eaten here in case because they didn't know where I got it. They just know I had this thing that was contagious. And they wanted to see if there were any restaurants here I may have gotten it at, if I had been, exposed somewhere in Philadelphia so they could, check it out.
Down. Wow.
So again,
That's great.
Kudos to our public health officials who are quietly and behind the scenes looking out for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In other medical news, Jefferson Methodist Hospital in South Philly was evacuated overnight between Tuesday and Wednesday when 3 feet of water flooded the facility. And the water caused all the ACs to turn off. So some of the floors felt like 100 degrees.
Oh, my God.
So 190 patients had to be evacuated, which is such a nightmare. Just thinking about like the logistics of, these people are in a hospital. There's a reason you're in a hospital. You might need to be hooked up to machines. You might need medication at certain times. Like these logistics of moving people, even under the best conditions, are difficult. So to be like an emergency evacuation at night at like 10 or 11 p.m., I think, is when this happened. Nightmare. nightmare.
Wow.
They were having to use like generators for people that were on life support. People were
so
being
scary.
transported on stretchers, like to different locations. It's a long process to get everybody out of there. They're doing an investigation into what exactly caused the flooding.
Okay.
They think it's probably weather related, but the power was back on by 5:30 a.m. It just they needed to get people out immediately because of the extreme heat in there. And I mean, there was flooding across the entire Delaware Valley this week with all the rain spells. I know, like I was out in Havertown, Bryn Mawr area Wednesday night. So much rain, so much lightning. I saw a video from NBC 10 on Wednesday that like the SEPTA station in Jenkintown, water pouring into it. So it's just, there's flood warning. There's a bunch of stuff going on with the weather. So our facilities need to make sure they're prepared for what weather can bring, especially during this time of year with the heat and the rain and all of that. So
that is so scary for people who are in such a vulnerable state like that. And for the employees of the hospital that have to deal with that kind of disruption. And
absolutely. Are they trained for it? How do you, like, it's an entirely different thing. If you're a family member looking for information about your loved one who may have been moved, you can call their number at 215-463-2031. The facility is still closed, but they are taking calls on the information line if you need help.
I hope they're able to open soon. I hope everybody's safe and sound after this ordeal is over.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back after this. Abby, 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
We're not working Monday. What are you up to this weekend?
Oh man. I mean, what am I not up to this weekend? I need a whole new wardrobe. So for the summer, of course, not a want.
Right.
I'm gonna go to Thrift to Death Market at Cherry Street Pier on Sunday.
Okay.
Big vintage and thrift clothing sale. There is an entry fee. Unless you go between 1 and 5, which, you know, it's a little later in the day, so some things might have already sold, but no entry fee. And they are doing $25 bags. Like you can pay $25 and you just stuff as much stuff as you want in the bag. And they also have like $5 bins and stuff like that. So it's like a pretty affordable way to go thrifting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Also, throughout the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, there's Preservation Fest at Eastern State. It's beyond the typical tour, so you're getting more, even though it's the same price like as admission. Eastern State's going to be teaching about historical preservation. They're going to do like pop-up talks, live demonstrations. It's a very like family-oriented event. To teach more about like what it takes to preserve historical sites and about like prisons and the history of prisons in the country and specifically at Eastern State as well. So it's a cool historical thing if you want to get the kids out this weekend, maybe, Matt.
If you want something quasi-historical, the Philadelphia Renaissance Fair is at Fort Mifflin this weekend. There are 4 stages: juggling, singing, magic, archery, knife throwing.
Just bring rain boots because it does get muddy down there, I will say. And it is meant to rain this weekend.
That's right.
So prepare accordingly. But I do love hearing about all the outfits that people wear. My friend went a couple years ago and she dressed as Scarlet Fever in like a full red suit.
Nice.
Hilarious. So people get really creative.
One other event this weekend that might be right up your alley, Abby. It's a little unusual. Over at FDR Park, there's what's called a field recordings journey.
Oh, nice.
So you go out to FDR Park on Saturday with your favorite field recording device, like the Zoom recorder we're using to record the show right now, your phone, it could be a video camera. And then in a group, you go to these different spots recording sound. You upload your favorite bits of sound. And then at the end, there's a performance that blends the field recordings with improvised music.
Oh, that's so cool. What a unique event.
I know. It's really good for the audio nerds.
Wow.
Email, if you're interested, Mark Jaffe at yyyaffeee@gmail.com for more information.
That's a crazy email. I love that.
This is the point in the show where we do CityCast Philly neighbor shout-outs. If you join us as a member of CityCast Philly, you can go to membership.citycast.fm/Philly. You can pick a business, you can pick a nonprofit, you can pick a thing in the city that you love and want to shout out.
Recurring event, whatever.
Yeah, we will shout it out here on the show and in the newsletter. Abby, what do we got this week?
Emily N says Mancuso & Sons on East Passyunk is a great Italian specialty store. They sell great cheeses, hoagies, and even make their own water ice in the summertime. I second this so hard. I love this spot. I used to live pretty close to there, and I've definitely talked about them on the podcast before. They make their own ricotta, incredible. I still, even though I don't live in South Philly anymore, I'll make the trek down to get a spicy Italian on a seeded roll whenever I have a hoagie craving. So I would absolutely recommend if you haven't been here. Totally second this, Emily.
That's great. Thank you, Emily. And the other thing we have for members is we do an extra segment on Fridays. And today we've got some information you're going to want to know about if you're planning or thinking about or considering going down the shore this weekend. So
we're gonna have a little debate whether or not that's the way to go.
So our neighbors will stay tuned, and for the rest of you, if you want to listen in on that segment, go become a CityCast Philly neighbor now, and you can listen in.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
Have a wonderful weekend, Abby. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. Our host is Trinae Nuri. Our executive producer is me, Matt Katz. Our senior producer is you, Abby Fritz. Our producer is Emma Talkoff. Our newsletter editor is Siani Colon. And our music is by Philly's own Interminable, with additional music from All the Kimonos. If you like the show, forward it over to a friend. Rate it on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review. And subscribe to the morning newsletter. The link is in the show notes. We're back Tuesday with more news from around the city. Have a wonderful and hopefully dry weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.